Hi, fifth graders. So if you're able to print this paper, you have this paper. If all my face-to-facers are on line right now, hi, you should have this paper. Get it out and find it. If you don't, follow the directions that were on this screen showing you what to do on your paper to set it up. Okay, so you should have 53 in your notebook. Okay, and then we'll go to page 53. If you did not have the ability to print those notes, or you lost them, or you don't have them, this is what your paper should look like before you start. So if you haven't done this yet, pause the video and get your notebook set up like this. Okay, I'm just going to use this piece of paper here to start area and perimeter. Okay, so last week we reviewed all the skills that you've learned using the formula in fourth grade. And now we're going to kind of look to see how it's going to look, the different ways it's going to look in fifth grade. Okay, so let's start with our definition. So perimeter is a total distance around a 2D shape or polygon. Area is the amount of space inside the boundary of that 2D shape. Okay. So in fifth grade, you could be tested to find the perimeter and area of a rectangle. When you're looking and reading the question, once you realize you're solving for perimeter, you really need to be sure that you go pull out the formula you're going to use. So let's set this formula up and plug in the values that we have here for this perimeter so we can solve. Okay. So this rectangle has a length of 21 feet. And I like to put my parentheses here so we can add them. And we can just do it here. That helps me remember to solve those first before I add. And then we know that our width here is 15. So we're going to put 2 times 15. Okay. I do not have enough space here to finish this. So I'm just going to go on the outside of my paper here, up here in this corner, and I'm going to go ahead and just solve my 2 times 21. I know 2 times 15 is 30, but it's dangerous for me to double this in my head. So just to be sure that I don't make any mistakes, I am going to do 21 times 4 right here, and that's going to give me 84. Yep. Did y'all catch my mistake? What should I have multiplied by? 2. It helps if you copy the right numbers to be able to get the right answer. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So that should be 42. Sorry for the confusion. Okay. So now all we have left to do is to add 42 plus 30. And so we're going to get 42 plus 30. And that's going to give us 72. So our perimeter here for this shape will be 72. Okay. What if they had asked us to use find the area of that shape? Okay. Then we would use this formula, A equals length times width. And all we have to do now is plug in the values. So our area is going to be equal to 21 times 15. And so I'm going to solve 21 times 15. And I am going to do that and erase this and do it over here. Actually, I'm going to do it over here to the side so we can see it better. Okay, 21 times 15. Now, when we did this face-to-face in the class on Friday, there were a lot of mistakes made on this 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication because we forgot to add that 0 when we went on to the next line, but we're not going to do that today. we're going to remember to multiply 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 times 2 is 10. We're going to cross out that 5 and put the 0 down to represent moving to the next place value. Then 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, and we're going to add that together, those two products, and we get 315. So that means our area for that rectangle equals 315. This is feet. Of course, this will be squared. And this would just be feet. Okay. This represents the multiplication of 2 dimensions. And this is just adding them together, so we don't square it. It only represents 1 dimension. Okay. Moving on to the square. Anytime that you see a square, and when we start talking about formula this Friday, volume, this Friday, anytime you have a cube or a square, the one characteristic they have is all the sides are the same length. And so you will only be given one measurement because that's all you need. So to find the perimeter of a square, all we have to do, because we know that really the perimeter is just adding up all the sides. So this would be 17, 17, 17, and 17. We could add 17 up, 4 groups of 17, or just multiply 4 times 17. So this is kind of like the shortcut to solve the perimeter of a square, is to, instead of adding 17 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17, we just multiply 17 by 4. So we're going to plug in our values so we see what we're doing, and then we're going to do that operation. Okay. So we're going to then go back and do 17 times 4, and 4 times 7 is 8. Regroup the 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. So we know that the perimeter of this square with this measurement of 17 is 68, and we're just going to say inches. We don't have to cube anything here because this represents 1 dimension all the way around the shape. And then we're going to draw a line here. I'm going to leave some space here so I can do my operations here. Okay, so the formula for the area of a square is just to take one of these sides and do side by side. And remember that when you're multiplying, when you find in the area of a square, you only need one measurement because all of them are going to be 17. So that means the length will be 17 and the width will be 17. Or another way to think about it is you just multiply the side measurement they give you, this one side measurement they give you, times that side measurement, 17 times 17. Then we're going to set it up over here, and we're going to multiply and remember to add our 0 when we move to our next place value. We're going to start 7 times 7 is 49. We're going to regroup that 4. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4, that would be 11. We're going to cross out that 7 and add a 0. 1 times that is 7, and 1 times 1 is 1. We're going to add it together. We're going to get 9, 8, and 2. Okay, so that means that the area here will be 289 inches squared. Sure didn't give a lot of space on here, did I? It's all right. Do the best that you can. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to this irregular shape here. Okay, so this is when it starts to get a little tricky. We're going to figure out the perimeter and the area of this irregular shape. And we know with the irregular shape that all we have to do is add up all of the sides, but you'll notice we have a problem here. We're missing those side pieces. So when this happens and you're missing those side pieces, all you really have to do is find a parallel line and see if they give you the whole length. And this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're going to start with this missing piece here. Okay, we know that this line and this line are parallel to this line. And you'll notice that they give us the complete measurement for this side of this irregular figure. This one only gives you 8 centimeters here. Okay, this one gives you the rest of it. So all we need to do to figure out this missing piece, since these are the same length when you combine them, is all we have to do is think, what do we need to add to 8 to reach this 12? Or another way to think about it is 12 minus 8 would give us what? It would give us 4. So this missing side piece that we need to answer this question is going to be, I'm going to write it up over here because this other piece is going to be right there, is going to be 4 centimeters. That's the measurement of this little piece. If this whole line all the way across matches a distance all the way here, then we know that 8 and 4 would give us 12. And so we know that missing side. So that same concept is going to apply on the other side. I'm going to look for a parallel line that's running vertically that I can use to help match that one side to the other. I'm trying to find a different highlighter so you can see it, a different color. So let's start here. We have 7 here, and we have a piece that's missing here. We don't know what it is, but this line here gives us the full measurement all the way down. And so we know that this line is parallel here to this line, and it's also, with this little piece, is going to finish and be the same measurement. So if this is 9, all we have to think is, what do we need to add to 7 to reach the number 9? And that will be our missing piece. Or another way to think about it is 9 minus 7. And 9 minus 7 is 2, or 7, 8, 9 will get us there. So this is going to be 2 centimeters for this little piece right here. Now we have all of the measurements that we need to be able to add up the sides. Now all we have to do is add them, and we can do this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is start adding, and I'm going to start with 8 plus 2 plus 4. I like to do mine in small pieces. So I'm going to add up all my sides here, just kind of check them off as I go. 8, 2, and 4. So I'm going to do this little section here. I'm going to do 8 plus 2 plus 4, and that'll give me 14. Now I'm going to add on here. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to add 7 and 12. I'm going to do 12 plus 7, and that will give me, that'll give me 9. So I'm at 19. So I'm going to add in that 19. Kind of have a good workflow. Remember, these checks represented the sides I've already got, so I don't miss any of them. 4 plus 9 is 12. Regroup the 1 is 32. And then I have my last bit to add on, which is going to be 32 plus 9. And 2 plus 9 would be 11, 41. So that means that the perimeter of this irregular shape is 41 centimeters. Okay. So that's the perimeter. And we just added up all the sides. Okay. Could I have used this length times width times height? I could have, because really, if you think about it, I could have figured it out and then went back and subtracted this one little piece here, but I just thought it would be easier just to add up all the sides. Okay. Whenever it's an irregular shape, it's easier for me to think that I'm just going to add up all the sides. Is that the right answer? 42. 4 plus 2. Let me get the calculator out. I feel like I'm off in my measurements. Am I off? I'm going to do a little cheat here just to check. It's hard adding up all those pieces, guys. So, redo your math and calculate here. And I need to check to see. Of course, my calculators are working. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to just start over again. I feel like I've done something wrong. So when you feel like you've done something wrong, you just start over again. So I'm going to do 8 plus 2 plus 4. 8 and 2 is 10. That'll give me 14. Then I'm going to do 14, 7, 12. Let me add those up. 14, 7, 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 33. And then I'm going to do 33 plus 9. That's going to give me a 2, regroup the 1, 42. Oy, let me get the calculator because now I do have a different measurement. Man, who knew that adding such little simple numbers could be so difficult, right? So this is why it's really important to make sure that you have a good system. And when you feel like something's wrong, take the time to double check and see what's wrong. And now I'm going to get the calculator out. Y'all ready? We'll see which one is right. So we got 8 plus 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 12 plus 9 equals 42. All right. So this should have been a 33. And hopefully y'all had better math skills than I did on that one, huh? Okay. So we have 42. All right. So now let's talk about how to find the area. Okay, so there's two ways that we can approach this. We could go ahead and just use this measurement here, 9 times 12, and get the area of this whole square. And yes, I'm extending this out. And then we could find the area of this small piece and subtract it out, okay? Another thing that we can do is go ahead and find the area and separate out this shape into two different parts and find the area of this piece, then find the area of this piece, and then add them together, okay? So I'm going to go with this method, and I'm going to find the area here. I know this full line here is 9, and I know that this full line here is 8. I know that area equals length times width, so that will be 8 times 9, and the area of that small piece will equal, what will it equal? 72. Okay, so this small piece, the whole area of that piece is going to be 72. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm now going to come back for this piece right here. This long piece is the side length here. This is 7. And this small little piece right here is 4. And so that's what I'm focusing on, the 4 centimeters and the 7. So I just have to think 4 times 7 times 4, and that's going to give me 28. So the area there on that second piece, so you can see it, we did 4 times 7, and that gave us 28. So if you wanted to know the total area of this irregular shape, the last thing we would need to do is add together 72 plus 28. So we're going to do 72 plus 28. It's going to give us 10. We group the 1. That's going to give us 8, 9, and 10. All right, so that means the area of this whole shape is 100 centimeters squared. Okay. All right, last shape. What if they give us something that is not a rectangle and they ask us to find the perimeter of that polygon? Well, if we're trying to find the perimeter of a polygon that does not have 4 sides and it's not a rectangle or a square, we're not going to be able to use one of these formulas from our star reference. Okay? And that's when we're going to have to remember that when we find the perimeter of any shape, that all we have to do is add up all the sides. Because if you look at our formulas here, it would be a waste of time to try to look to see where that formula was. Because this says square, rectangle, square, rectangle. So they don't give us a formula for that. So we have to remember when we have a shape that has 3 sides, 5 sides, 6 sides, and so forth, we have to remember that our way to get there is to just add up all the sides. Okay. And what I notice about this shape right away is that I notice that this side and this side are the same measurement. Do you see how this is 4 5/10 and this is 4 5/10? So I'm going to start there and I'm going to add up those two because of the same measurement. So I'm going to do 4.5 and 4.5. I'm going to add those together because they match. And I want to make this a little easier on myself. That's going to be 8. So that will be 9. Okay. Then, do you notice what's happening over here with these sides? Yeah, they're all the same. So we can add up 2 8/10 plus 2 8/10 plus 2 8/10 plus 2 8/10 together. Can you think of another operation that we could do that might be faster, more of a shortcut to get there instead of adding all 4? And it's definitely going to be more efficient for me after you saw what a catastrophe I did just trying to add up all those little numbers, right? Are you thinking about it? I hope you thought, Ms. Jones, we could just multiply 2.8 times 4 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 2 8/10. And I know that multiplication represents repeated addition. So let's do that. Let's do 2 8/10 times 4 because that'll be a lot easier than adding them up in a big group that we already know I'm going to mess up, right? 4 times 8 is 32 plus 3. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 9, 10, and 11. Okay, we've got to put that place value back in. We have one place value in this number with a decimal, and so we get 11.2. So now all I need to do to get my answer is I need to add 11 2/10 to the 9. So I'm going to do 11 2/10. I'm going to add it to the 9. 2, 10, regroup the 1, and I reach my answer where perimeter is going to equal 20 2/10, and it's just going to be feet. Nothing's going to be squared here because we just found one dimension of that shape all the way around. And yes, I need to add some color over here to show you this side, this side. These measurements were the same number. Okay, and when you notice that sometimes with shapes, it's important that you think about what's the most efficient way to get there. This one was a little tough because there were a lot of numbers going all over the place, and I made one little mistake, then the whole thing was wrong. And I felt like something was off, and I double checked it. So you've got to just be real diligent and take your time and double check your work. Okay? All right, so we're going to practice some of these skills today. Good luck.